Our first guest today is Tiffany Egdorf, who is well, I won't say what she is, I'll let her tell you that, but she is with the Lindsey House. Tiffany, good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
And I need to point out, this lady is brave beyond words, because the day we're taping this, it's sloppy and rainy and foggy and the wind's blowing and the cows are loose. And in spite of it all, you came.
I did.
God love you. What is the Lindsey House?
The Lindsey House is a transitional living program for homeless women and children. We do an intense life skills curriculum that lasts about 9 months. In addition to that, we do an intense financial literacy curriculum. So our goal is for the women to learn the skills they need to be self-sufficient in about 9 to 10 months. And then they stay with us another 9 or so months and practice those skills in a safe environment while paying off debt, saving money, and stabilizing their family situation.
I would assume then, by what you've given me, you also help prepare them for a job search.
Absolutely. Whatever it is they need, we try to help with if it's reasonable or within our basket of tools. If not, we outsource that. So that could be anything from job skills, very specific ones, to resume writing, to learning how to meal plan and cook a dinner.
Sure. Educational suggestions?
So we do help them with education if they need it. If it's more formal education, of course, we don't offer that. But we do help with GED training if they need to get their GED. If they're looking for something past that, we have community partners, or we'll help them enroll in school if it's something at a post-high school level.
What you've told me begs the question, there is an elephant in the room, and this begs the question, do we have much of a demand? Are there many mothers out there with children facing homelessness?
Absolutely. Homelessness, unfortunately, doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. I think you'd find that most any of us that work in this field would love to say we're out of a job one day, because the demand is not there, just because we're not needed. Our mothers, we find, often they come from various backgrounds. So some of them have education, some of them have a middle-class upbringing, some of them have come from a lifetime of poverty. Many of our women are struggling with addiction and are in a recovery process. Many are justice involved. And so when that happens, those women have a number of things that they need to learn to stabilize or relearn to stabilize. And the focus on doing that helps also to stop it from happening to their children. At least that's our hope. So we also address those issues and some of those education pieces with kids, depending on how old they are. For example, we have financial literacy curriculum that we go through with our kids. We have an elementary, a middle school, and a high school curriculum we use with those kids, so they too can understand those concepts and know how important it is to manage our resources.
Sure. I would assume that given the pressures facing the mothers and the instability, obviously, that the children must feel, there has to be some sort of counseling available as well, psychological counseling. Am I correct?
There is counseling available. We don't do that on site. And the main reason we don't is because that exists, and we have so many wonderful community partners in the Tulsa area that can help with that. And so we outsource that or recommend or refer, whatever the case may be for our women. We do in-house case management, which is more practical case management, managing their skills, that job piece, the education piece, the family stability piece. But anything that's considered therapeutic counseling is done elsewhere.
I would assume, again, that yours is not the sort of organization that once they move on, you wash your hands of them.
Not at all. In fact, we have been around about 7 years, so we're still a fairly new organization. And now that we've been around that long, we have a fairly large alumni pool. And I'm excited to say that we're in touch with about 93% of our alumni that have gone through the program. We have a specific Facebook page set up because a lot of our moms are young. Our average age is 34, but we do have some in their 20s. And so they like that social media touch base. It's nice to have that there. But they are welcome to come back if they need advice. I just had an alumni call last week and say, I'm off track on my budgeting. Would you meet with me and help? We'll happily do that. They can visit our food pantry at any time. If there's a resource we have that we can pass on to them, we will do it, whether they're in the program or they've been out of the program for a year, 2 years, 6 years.
Simple things, but the things that we take for granted, balancing the checkbook, budgeting, just, where do I get the best bang for the buck on diapers?
Right.
Anything like this. You guys handle that, don't you?
We do. And I'd say that's really a keystone of what we do is the basics of life. Like you said, a lot of things we take for granted. One example I like to give is it's amazing to me how many women don't know how to take a recipe, for example, they may find in a book and think, man, this sounds really great.
Yeah.
They don't know how to take that recipe, translate it to a grocery list, go to the grocery store and grocery shop, and then come home and put that into action.
One gets almost the impression, pardon me for interrupting, one gets the impression some or all have suffered abuse.
I'd say that the bulk of our population has suffered either abuse and or some other tragedy. And it could be something that's happened to them in the last 6 or 12 months of the time that we see them, or it could be 5, 10, 15 years ago, you never know, but there's something underlying there.
I would venture that there have to be times that you find yourself going there, but for the grace of God, go I. Am I correct?
Yes, you are correct. It's, well, we've seen a lot.
Yeah.
And, no day at the Lindsey House is ever the same for our staff or for our participants for that matter.
They are secure. I mean, there's security, right?
They are. Our facility is locked down. And so we do have things in place and we are a secure facility.
What do you suppose, with the economy being in the flux that it's in right now, and this is not a political question, so don't think I'm taking you there, but with the economy being in flux with Oklahoma, on the one hand, we've got anybody who has a voice trying to draw business to the state. Education's getting hammered. All kinds of state facilities are being hammered on. What's the outlook? Is homelessness just going to grow for a while?
Well, I would like to say no. I don't know that I can. I do think there are some groups that are doing some very specific targeting of certain homeless groups, and I think that they are making headway there. As a general population, I'm not sure that it's going to go away anytime soon. In addition to the Lindsey House, there are so many programs in our community, Tulsa proper and all of our surrounding areas that do amazing work. And I think that we're needed right now. I think the demand for our services isn't going away.
Well, tell me, if you don't mind, how did Lindsey House get started and who's it named for?
Sure. So Lindsey House was started from a group of concerned citizens out of First Presbyterian Church in Tulsa. These folks were very mission-minded. They did a lot of traveling around the country on mission trips. And they said, maybe we should refocus and look at what our community is needing and see if there's anything missing. And if there's nothing missing, then we're good. But what they found is there was no place for a single mom or a single woman with a child to go if she didn't have some other circumstances such as substance abuse, domestic violence, or mental health. Those organizations existed if you have those issues, and they're wonderful organizations. But a mom, for example, that had a loss of relationship, loss of job, major medical event, just something that set her back, there was nowhere for her to go. And so that was the beginning of the concept of the Lindsey House.
How about funding? How's it supported?
So we are privately funded at this time. We receive money from individuals, organizations, churches, businesses in Tulsa, and then of course foundations.
Do you need donations of items, of clothing, of bed sheets and all that sort of thing? Does that?
Sure. So one of the unique things about Lindsey House is that we have apartment sponsors and others that help us with those types of things. So there's always a need. Sets of dishes, new sheets, towels, toilet paper, dish soap, shampoo and conditioner, just about anything that you might think about putting in your basket at Target or Walmart. Those are items, if you grab an extra one, that Lindsey House can probably take and use.
My older granddaughter is involved in a project through an organization at Booker T. Washington that she launched to help folk who are in need, particularly women and young girls who are in need of personal grooming products or personal, care products and all. Do you have need of those items?
Absolutely. Those items are used and then we can't use them again once they're gone. So we have 13 families at the Lindsey House. And right now, I believe those 13 families have 13 moms and we have 28 kids.
Oh my goodness.
And so with that, we go through those types of products very quickly.
Oh my. All right, let's just say folks want to help, they want to do something for you. How do they first make contact?
I'd say the best way is to call us or go to our website, which is the easiest to remember, lindseyhouse.org.
Yeah.
We have a wish list on there. We have ways that you can help, but we would really just be happy for you to call. We'll talk to you and figure it out. What are you passionate about, and how can we plug you in?
And probably they could volunteer time. And,
Absolutely.
hey, thanks for coming by.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
I appreciate
to
it.
sit and talk about this with you more. And next time we have you on, I want to talk about your last name.
Okay.
We'll get into that.
If you promise sunny weather.
I know that song. Hey, thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Well, coming up, we'll have a word about healing from the John Hope Franklin Center when we come back.